no hurry.
Come back
Yeah.
to us, you know, 'cause
It didn't.
it's not gonna make a difference. Right,
all.
oh, I know.
So I don't think we're gonna have to really worry about it, to be honest with you.
Time will tell on that.
When you have people from Chaminade there.
Let me see.
What's going on, though.
Ready?
then
Okay, we're gonna call this meeting to order. Pledge allegiance. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody.
Morning, Mr. Chair.
Morning,
Good
Mr.
morning,
Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Can I get a motion to approve the county board?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Got a motion by-
Randy?
I got a motion by Commissioner Jelinski. Seconded by Commissioner Wincher. Any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Deb, anything? Nope. Nope. Okay, can I get a motion to accept the agenda as presented? Got a motion by Commissioner Wincher, seconded by Commissioner Jelinski. Any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Sheriff's report. Welcome, Sheriff.
Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Fantastic, thank you.
So I'm here today just to, looking for replacement of a full-time correctional officer position as well as a full-time deputy position. They're both obviously full-time positions and they're both due to resignations. So I'm looking for acknowledgement just to move forward on that and also looking to replace any other positions that may be impacted by this for the movement.
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Lemire, seconded by Commissioner Jelinski. Any further questions? If not, all in favor,
So do you think these positions are gonna be easy to fill? Yes, no? Due to what's going on around the country, world?
I'll be honest with you, it's probably not gonna be easy. We're gonna do internal. Internal should be fairly easy, right? But, we'll do a external post then to probably fill those positions, and that's where it gets tough as far as the number of candidates, that may apply, but I guess time will tell.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, I do have, I need to talk about Windscribe, and I also need to talk about Too Tall Tavern, but I believe that's gonna be dealt with by Amy,
Yep.
through IT, and then Chelsea through the auditor's office, so I'll just stay back here then. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Very good. Good luck, Sheriff.
Okay, next, social service report. Brad.
Morning, Brad.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Karen.
Karen.
How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Good.
This morning, I asked Karen to come forward and just talk a little bit about Mfip and child care assistance, both programs that are critical to self-sufficiency. So I'll turn it over to Karen.
Okay, good morning. Diversionary work program. Well, because of COVID, we have 0 clients on this program. Diversionary work program is set up to get people to work as soon as they get on. They're only on for 4 months. Because of the waivers, they're not working with anyone. The clients basically don't have to go to the workforce center. So no one's on diversionary work program.
Be it no fault of anyone's, be it the fault, if you want to say, or the backlash, or the downside of COVID.
Correct.
Very good.
Yep. Minnesota Family Investment Program, that's the program we put them on if they come in to apply. Basically, we put them on even if they've used 60 months and have minor children because of COVID. So there were some exemptions. If you used your 60 months, you were no longer eligible. Because of COVID, you come in, you're not working, we can put you on. So that is coming to an end. The peacetime emergency ended 7/1, so the state of Minnesota has 60 days to end the waivers. So we're anticipating the end of August, those people will come off.
Okay.
So as of April, we had 102 cases. We had adults 65 and 138 children on Minnesota Family Investment Program. Caretaker cases, there were 28 cases. Those are grandparents raising their grandchildren. So, and 10 cases were post 60 months. Those people will be coming off the end of August for sure.
And this is Morrison County.
Morrison County, correct. Okay, diversionary work program again in April, there was 0 issuance. Monies issued for the month of April were $89,711, Minnesota Family Investment Program. And then we have the Mfip, Diversionary Work Program Assistance Standards. Full standard as of 10/1/20 is $515. Now that's a household of 1. That would be a woman that's pregnant with an unborn child. Household of 2 would be an adult with a child. As you can see, the cash grant is $537 and the food portion is $304. It's not a lot of money. And these standards actually went up $100 back in October. Diversionary work program, if we were able to put them on, they would be on for 4 months. If they didn't find employment by then, we would transition them to Minnesota Family Investment Program. Minnesota Family Investment Program has a 60-month lifetime limit unless you are unable to work. Unemployable, has to be some kind of reason you can stay on the program. There has to be an extension. And the extensions are on the next page. Mfip employed extension. 1 parent unit must work an average of 30 hours per week. 2 parent units, the family must work 55 hours per week. If their income is below the standards, they would still continue to receive a small grant. Most of the time, if a family is working 55 hours, they're not eligible for cash assistance. Limited work due to an illness or a disability, they can remain on Mfip over the 60 months if they're unable to work. Hard to employ extension?
Could I ask you a question on that diversionary work program?
Sure.
Now, you say there's $0 being
Issued.
issued because there's nobody on that program.
Right.
And they're not on that program because they're not issuing, because they're issued waivers, so they don't have to work? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct, because
So-
of COVID.
And there's retailers out there that everywhere you go, there's people that want individuals to work. So
Exactly.
is that 60-month program that you're talking about that is ending, is that part of the diversionary work program?
Well, what's ending is the waivers. Right now, if they're on a cash program, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to work with the workforce center. They continue to receive their grant. That is, the waivers are ending within 60 days, so the end of August for sure. They will have to start working with the workforce center to find
And
employment.
that's the diversionary work program.
Diversionary work program and Minnesota Family Investment Program also. If they're able to work, they will have to start working with the workforce center.
Very good, thank you.
So Karen, if I may, on that same topic, and you probably said it already and it went right through me, what's the number of people that we're talking about?
On assistance right now, Mfip, we have how many cases? We've got 105 adults, I believe.
So we can only hope that a couple of those signs that
65
Commissioner Lemire is
adults, I'm
talking
sorry.
about, pardon me?
65 adults.
65 adults. So we can only hope, on the topic of what Commissioner Lemire was talking about, help wanted signs, maybe a few of them can go away. But that's not going to happen until probably September, because it's going to end in August.
You're right.
So there's still going to be a little bit of lag time there with help wanted, is my guess.
You're right. There's signs all over help wanted.
Right, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Karen,
And
if I may ask, you also said something, I think, if they work too many hours, then they lose this?
They do. Their income would go up. They would lose the cash assistance, but they would be eligible for SNAP. Most people are, which is food support.
Because it seems like there's kind of a thing here that doesn't seem right to me. You know, if they make this here, now they get nothing. You know, where is it that you need $30,000 a year to live? And I'm getting 20, so I help you, I'm working, so I make 20, where I'm helping you with 10. It seems like there's that mark that all of a sudden I made too much, well, that's why they don't want to go to work, or am I
Well,
wrong on this?
it's like I tell my clients, though, if you come off of cash assistance, you should be proud of yourself, because that means that you're self-sufficient now. Your income is high enough that you're actually off the cash. You can continue to get the food support and the medical assistance because that has a higher income level. So it's just the cash assistance that they come off of.
And they
And you-
should easily make more than that cash assistance.
If you're able to work,
If you're able to
yes,
work,
yes,
yeah.
especially now. If you go to Walmart, I believe it has a sign there, $16, $17
Yes.
an hour. Yeah,
And you will continue to get daycare assistance as well.
Right,
So, and you'll
right.
see that in the next couple slides. So really, as Karen said, the only thing you do lose is the cash
Mm-hmm.
assistance. There's other barriers, of course, maybe a vehicle doesn't work or,
Right.
you know, and so there are some options for them as well. But yeah, you could still get a lot of the benefits if you go back to work.
the cash assistance is a big one, but if you can get a client to get a job, it seems like once they get that first paycheck, it excites them and they want to continue to work.
I would agree with that. That's half of the battle.
Right, yep. That's where the Workforce Center comes in, and they do a real good job with our clients. They really do. Okay, moving on. Childcare assistance. Childcare assistance is one of the better programs we have for low-income families. Right now, we have 43 cases. 29 of them are basic sliding fee. Transition year, we have 2 cases. Transition year is when they're coming off of cash assistance, they're going to transition into the basic sliding fee program. Mfip is when they are on cash assistance. We have 12 cases. If they're on Mfip and childcare, those clients are working. Now, some clients can't work a lot, so you have to understand if they have issues such as physical or mental health issues, they're always going to be part-time unless they can roll into Social Security. So we do have clients that are not able to work a full-time job. So, but those clients will also be eligible for post-60 month until those kids are of age, and then maybe the adult can qualify for SSI or RSDI.
But that is part of the reason that these programs were created to begin with.
Correct.
Because if
Right.
that person, whomever that person is, can't work, good God Almighty, they can't.
Right.
This is why we have this
Yep.
stuff, so, okay.
Yearly childcare allocations for Morrison County, $194,342. We do not have a waiting list. We actually, if you know someone that needs childcare, tell them to apply. We have money available. So,
And that's even if you've never been on MFIP. So let's say you
Right.
just have an entry-level job and you have a child, or even a paying job that doesn't pay as well as you had hoped. There is childcare assistance available for those that want to keep working and not go on MFIP at all.
Brad, that's a very good statement, that the finances are there. Do we have a place for the children to go?
You know, that would be another issue in itself. I do know that with Sourcewell, they do have openings in some
Okay.
childcare homes, but whether or not it's in an area where they are going to work or going to be able to work is another story. Or if you're working overnights or evenings, those are always a challenge.
evenings are hard, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, April childcare issuance for basic sliding fee, we issued $8,825. Minnesota Family Investment Program, $6,011. Transition year, $14,058, or $1,458. Okay, now this is where it gets a little tricky. Childcare assistance, 2-person household, the entrance level. Okay, this is when they're applying. 47%. Income, $34,745. This is where it gets confusing. We do redeterminations every 12 months for childcare. So they have to be at 67% to remain on the program at redetermination, okay? If they go over the 85% income level within that 12 months, they would also exit. And then you go into a 3-person household, the income size, 4-person, 5-person.
So once they get on the program, you can get raises, you can,
Yep.
you know, so there are supports that way.
Any questions on that? No? Okay. Childcare authorized activities, basic sliding fee, of course, we do job search. Employment, they must be working 20 hours a week in order to get childcare. Education, we have to approve the education plan. They can't just up and decide that they're gonna go to school for, you know, whatever, it has to be approved. And Mfip childcare assistance, job search, employment, education, transition, the same. Portability comes in if you have a waiting list. Morrison County hasn't had one now for quite some time. We're actually trying to advertise the program a little bit.
Yeah, we're doing some Facebook posts and getting it on our website, because again, people who are working those jobs that maybe can't afford childcare, this is a program that can help and support you to keep
It's a
working.
good program, yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's a 2-parent household, both of them have to be in an authorized activity. Now, we do get some applications where only one's working, and we have to deny them because both have to be, if it's 2-parent, you both have to be out there working.
Brad, if I may ask, do our employers know that there's help for people with daycare? Because I could see people coming in looking for a job and say, well, I got daycare. You know, if employers knew this, that there's help with that area, that could be part of their conversation that they have to help them get through that. Because I see people saying, well, by the time I pay daycare, there's no sense in me going to work. You know, so maybe.
It's a good question, Commissioner. I'm not sure, and it's something I think we could talk about in terms of maybe sharing this information with the chamber so they can share it with their members.
Yeah.
But that is a good question. I'm not sure if employers know when they're hiring folks and they talk about the challenges of childcare, paying for childcare with that wage. I don't know.
Yeah, because I would think that'd be part of a package deal, that you help out the people that are taking those jobs that maybe they're not aware of. I think a lot of them are aware of the fact, well, if I make that, I lose this,
Yeah.
without trying to put those together.
The Career Force is aware of childcare, our programs, so I know they inform people of it.
I'm trying to think of the person that stops at whatever
Right,
place and you
right.
make $12 an hour and they put it all together and just don't work out for me.
Yeah.
Without going through the whole process. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Anybody got any other questions?
Very good, Karen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sure,
Have a
yeah.
good day.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to move on to the public health report, and we're going to share information on Towards Zero Deaths, and we need to approve a resolution allowing the director to sign the Towards Zero Death grant. So Emily and Sarah are here to talk about some of those activities that have gone on with Towards Zero Death.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, good morning.
So Towards Zero Death focuses on outreach and education and engages the 5 E's, which we'll talk about in the next slide. But basically, we utilize crash data to drive our work. You know, where should our outreach be? Where should our education be? And we coordinate with the enforcement grant through the Sheriff's Department. So the Morrison County Safe Roads Coalition is something that the grant requires us to have, and that engages these 5 E's. And so we have an education component where we have school leaders, public health educators, we have enforcement through the sheriff's office, our local police department, we have our county public works through engineering, we have our first responders through EMS, and then we have the community, insurance agents, community members, so that encompasses our 5 E's. And our grant required us to have a mission statement this year. So within the last year, this Safe Roads Coalition developed this mission statement. So this was written by those people I just talked about. So I don't know if you want me to read that or not, but this is the mission statement of Towards Zero Death for Morrison County. So what are our crash factors? What are we seeing? We're seeing speed, and I can tell you, as we get more into the statistics, this is a big issue this year. We're seeing higher rates of speed. Distracting driving is not only cell phones, it's drowsy driving, it's eating, fiddling with your radio, any types of distracted driving. Impairment, which could be alcohol or drugs, and then seat belts, which unfortunately, despite all the education that we do around seat belts and the laws around seat belts, it's still very common in Morrison County for our fatal and serious injury crashes that people aren't wearing their seat belts. Other things that we're seeing is motorcycles. That can be a huge one this time of year with other vehicles, a single motorcycle crash, deer running out on the road. And then we have our pedestrians or bicyclists walking. So we're seeing some things around that as well. So getting to the data, this is the newest data that we could pull as of July 3rd. So 202 people have died on Minnesota roads since January 1st of 2021. That's compared to 148 at this time in 2020. Fatalities, 142 vehicle occupants. Last year there was 109. There's 26 motorcyclists, 18 last year. We saw 80 crashes were speed related, 49 last year. And then the crash demographics, 72% were male, and 44 of the fatalities were aged from 21 to 30. So, and just a statement from Mike Hansen, who is the Office of Traffic Safety Director through the state, and just him expressing his concern about that we're halfway through 2021 and the amount of fatalities that we've had already. So, pretty concerning. And just some of the things that we dealt with this year with Towards Zero Death, we saw a pandemic, which for some reason it seems to be some correlation to people are speeding more. And I don't know if that's, less people on the roads, or I don't know what that's about, but it seems like higher speeds occurred during the pandemic time. And then we had a civil unrest to which law enforcement was reallocated. They couldn't be out on the roads doing some of this work. And then we had to pause some outreach activities based on not having, the opportunity to do that with them reallocated elsewhere. So just wanted to show you some specific Morrison County data. So this is from March of 2020 through June of 2021, so the start of the pandemic to last month. We saw 286 total crashes. 78 of them were injury crashes, 13 of them were serious, 6 of them were fatal, with 7 fatalities. So we did, in 2020, there's 394 total, and then there's 329 between 2018 and 2019. And I think that was state, not Morrison County, right?
That one is Morrison.
That one's Morrison County? Okay.
But it's all crashes, not just the serious injury
Right.
fatalities.
And this is our 2020 Morrison County statistics, this bar graph. Do you want to go up? Back one.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. And so this just shows crashes per month. And so if you see in March when the pandemic started, that's kind of concerning. And then from 2020 to 2021, we had 13 serious injuries and 6 fatalities. The year before, it was 9 serious injuries and 7 fatalities. So as you can see, we're seeing an increase this year, definitely. And this just shows, based on that bar graph, where were these crashes at in our county. So you can see that most of our crashes are in the Little Falls area, 108. 30 in the Royalton area, 30 in the Piers area. 2 of our serious injuries were alcohol-related, and 2 of the fatalities included alcohol.
But it shows clearly that crashes do not just exist in the city of Little Falls, that, looking at your statistical stuff here, crashes happen and can happen anywhere.
Definitely. You can definitely see in the rural areas, it's just as common, you know. So now we just want to get into 2021, what the grant is going to look like as we're rewriting that and asking for the new resolution and kind of things that we'll be focusing on. I'll let Emily discuss that.
So each year, we set different goals with our coalition. This 2021 would have started in October of this past year. So our goals were to reduce the average number of fatalities and serious injuries on our road, but the ones that are directly tied to alcohol and unbelted. These statistics will come out when we do our fatal reviews with our Fatal Review Coalition. So our goal, we were at an average of about 7, and our goal is to be less than 5. I think we are already probably beyond that this year, unfortunately, with fatalities in general, but we just don't know which factors tied into those at this point. We'll know that in the next couple months. Another goal was to partner with 3 EMS teams across the county, so a lot of our EMS teams in normal times are able to do community events, and they do some fundraisers. We had the opportunity a couple years back now to attend Uppsala's event, and we were able to have a booth there talking about traffic safety in general and how it ties in with EMS. So our hope was to get out with a couple other EMS teams and do that. Because of COVID and everything this year, it wasn't a possibility. A lot of the teams didn't even have in-person events, or they're starting to now. So that's something we do want to continue in the future. It gets our name of our coalition out there and brings awareness to traffic safety. The third goal was to engage 5 additional businesses. A lot of the businesses we partner with are based in the Little Falls area. So our goal is to get outside of Little Falls, so finding some of those community partners, and I think we've done really well with that, reaching out into other parts of Morrison County. And then the last goal was to build on our current partnership with our public safety group, which is made up of law enforcement, EMS, fire, everyone that kind of responds to traffic safety incidents, and use that partnership to support what our Fatal Review Committee does with this TZD grant. So after fatal and serious injury crashes happen, we discuss as a group what were the factors, those kinds of things. And it does directly tie into what the first responders are seeing. So it's our goal eventually. We're still trying to work through the process of what that looks like, but to bring it back to the big public safety group and get a little more feedback from those first responders that are first on the scene. What did they see? How we could possibly prevent those crashes in the future.
Emily, before you move on to the next slide, Mr. Chair, if I may, could you go back and address number 3?
Yes.
And my question to that is, and perhaps I should know the answer to this, I sit on this committee, but if we want to engage 5 businesses, or if we want to engage 10 businesses, it doesn't make any difference within the county. What do we mean when we say we want to engage those 5 businesses? What do we want them to do?
That's a great question, yes. Our main goal is to share messages that are unified across the county. So we follow an enforcement calendar, which I'll show you, and it has specific topics each month, and our messaging really revolves around those topics. So whether it's distracted driving or alcohol, so find a sober ride, those kind of things. So everyone across Morrison County is sharing that same message at the same time. So you're kind of seeing it everywhere. You don't have to drive by a specific time sign at the right time to see that message. And then looking statewide, they're all sharing those same messages at the same time. We might be able to tailor those messages to be Morrison County specific, but in general, it's about these same topics.
So the hope would be is that as a coalition, or as yourself, as the leader, if you will, would email 5 businesses.
Yes.
And this is just your monthly reminder of this month's topic of put your seatbelt on, whatever it might be. It doesn't
Yes.
make any difference. And the hope would be is that that director of personnel from wherever, business, would then see to it that this is all passed on to their staff.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
very good. Thank
And
you.
if they have like electronic signboards, a lot
Sure.
of companies would pop up that message
Sure.
and, yeah, or social
Fantastic.
media, those kind of things.
Sure,
Yes.
thank you.
Absolutely. And then some of our other activities that we took on this year, these are optional, but they fit really well with what we want to do and the direction our coalition is passionate about with traffic safety. Doing local government presentations like this, or to our public health advisory board, or to the city councils, just bringing awareness to what's going on. Those crash statistics are very important to guide the work. We also focus on motorcycle safety and training through messaging. So messaging that we are looking at all throughout the summer this year is really focusing on, for riders, or the courses that they can improve their skills. So something, you take your bike out, you take care of your bike, you polish your bike, but you should also be polishing your skills every year. So making sure you do those kind of things. They have a lot of really great regional classes, so we've been promoting those classes, what's going on in our area. And then we also want to do on the other end, the vehicle driver related. So thank you, drivers, for seeing motorcyclists. Thank you for double checking when you're turning, or those kind of things. So making sure there's, on both sides, some responsibility of making the right choices. And then something that was new for us this year, and we haven't been able to put it into action, but we're still hopeful for the fall, would be pedestrian safety. We had plans to work with our schools and do how to be a safe pedestrian for younger elementary age kids, and then how to be a safe driver for those older kids. We were unable to go back into the school to do events in person at the end of this school year, but we're hoping to tie it in with our September back to school kind of events that we have planned. And the final other activity we have is our responsible beverage server training. Public Health does put on that training, but as a coalition, Safe Roads Coalition, we're able to promote that, talk about the benefits of why these classes are helpful and important, and get everyone trained in our county.
That's actually coming up in August. We'll be doing that training. We're starting to getting the communication out to the establishments. We are doing more of a hybrid model, so we're going to record our training. People can then watch that at a later date. New people coming into those establishments can then watch them, and then it's not so hard on those staff to come in person. They could watch the video, and we're trying to figure out, some questions that they should answer at the end to make sure they've done the video, those sorts of things. So that is coming up in August.
And then this next slide just kind of is the outreach and enforcement calendar. So each month or couple months have different focuses. That's what our law enforcement is out enforcing, and we would do the outreach, the media, the education on that, on those factors. Sarah did mention that there was pauses, so April, May, we kind of had to pause, we had to pivot, so really focusing on what we could do virtually, obviously still throughout the year, and then saying general traffic safety messaging. It might not say extra enforcement on the roads now, but this is why traffic safety is still important. Another exciting opportunity we have coming up is we are going to do some outreach at our county fair. We have a booth, and we are going to bring myself and some coalition members. We'll have an opportunity for community members to ask questions of whatever coalition members are there, whether it's law enforcement or our insurance agents or our first responders, engineers, myself as public health education. And then we do have some activities we're going to bring. So distraction goggles and impairment goggles. So impairment would be feeling like you are impaired, and we'll have people do a couple different activities with those goggles on. And then with the distraction goggles, these are new for us this year. We're borrowing them from the region. and you have these goggles on and you're doing a task, and then all of a sudden your goggles will look like you're looking down. So it'll only show you what's right in front of you, like you're looking at a phone or you're distracted in some other way. But we want you to continue your task to see how you're affected by those. There's the potential of using the seatbelt convincer, which I know we have presented. That is a piece of equipment that's available to our region, to you all before. So we are hoping to work that out and have that there for at least one day so people can experience what a low-speed crash would be like. So it really helps you understand why you need your seatbelt on. And then there is also potentially a crash car education coming. So a car that has been in a crash will be there for people to look at and understand how severe crashes can be.
And Mr. Chair, Emily and company have put this together. Typically, Morrison County has some type of booth and presentation or presence at the fair. And so, as is typical, you're welcome to attend and help man the booth, and we'll certainly offer that out to other leaders in the organization to help kind of offset some of the staffing need for that. But it's always a good opportunity for Morrison County and whatever highlight that we pick for the year to offer the public an opportunity to get to know who we are better and what we do and some of the work that's done. So I appreciate your helping with that.
And then finally, we are in the process right now of applying for the 2022 grant that would begin in October. It will be submitted at the end of this month. We want to continue to build on what our coalition is already doing. I think we have really great passions in our coalition of what directions we want to move in. We want to continue to increase that community awareness of who we are as a coalition and what traffic safety means specifically in Morrison County. And then finding even more local champions around the county to find those passion projects.
Resolution.
Yes, and so with that, we are asking for the resolution that's in your packet to be approved so that it would allow the Director of Public Health to sign the grant and any grant agreements to conduct this work.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to move on this.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Jelinski, seconded by Commissioner Wincher. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I would be thrilled if we could someone here could read the resolution.
I certainly can do that because they presented everything, so I'll be more than happy to read the resolution.
He's always got to get a word in,
Be it resolved that Morrison County Public Health enter into a grant agreement with the Minnesota Department of Public Safety for traffic safety projects during the period of October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022. The Morrison County Public Health Director is hereby authorized to execute such agreements and amendments as are necessary to implement the project on behalf of Morrison County Public Health. I certify that the above resolution was adopted by the Morrison County Board of Commissioners of Morrison County on July 13th, 2021.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any more questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very kindly.
Thank you, ladies. And as we said, feel free to help man the booth at the county fair, Thursday to Saturday, the 28th through the 30th, or 29th through the 31st.
Yep, it's just 3 days this year, I think, yep.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday this year, so. All right, I have a couple of food, beverage, and lodging requests, and that is, the first is to approve a one-day temporary on-sale liquor license for Lincoln Scandia Valley, and this would be, it is outside the 30 days, but we're asking you to approve it anyway. They're technically supposed to have it 30 days prior to the event, and this was not able to get in time.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Lemire, seconded by Commissioner Jelinski. Any other questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
All right, and then I have two others. The first is a new establishment license for the Franciscan Sisters. They are needing to change their license because of some licensing standards, and then a one-day temporary on-sale. Oh, I see she did put that one in here too. So it'll be the new establishment license for the Franciscan Sisters.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Wincher, seconded by Commissioner Lemire. Any further discussion? If If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And then we have this is the one that was requesting a variance for the 30-day requirement. And that is for the Randall Cushing Lions on July 31st.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Lemire, seconded by Commissioner Wincher. Any further discussions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And I believe that's all that I have this morning.
Thanks,
Thank
Brad.
you very much.
Thank
Brad.
you.
Land Services, does anybody need a break? Everybody okay?
I'm good.
Okay. Land Services, Amy, welcome.
Well, no one else is talking, huh? That's it, huh?
Good morning.
Morning, Miss Amy.
Hi. I am circling back from a planning session regarding the waterless cleaning station for the Fish Trap Lake Public Access. As part of that project, the county needed to enter into a lease agreement with the DNR since that is a DNR access. And so before you and in your packet was the lease agreement. There is no fee for that. It's just a formal agreement with the DNR allowing us to utilize that area to site that waterless cleaning station. So that's what I'm asking for today is approval of this agreement.
Sounds good. I got a motion by Commissioner Lemire, seconded by Commissioner Jelinski.
Sure.
Any further questions?
Mr. Chair, Miss Amy, if you could explain the lease agreement, what
Yes.
do you mean a lease agreement? And I kind of get it, but it's to place this thing,
Yes.
but we don't have anything to do with placing it.
No, we do not.
So kind of, why do we have to have a lease agreement if we're not going to have anything there? Because I think I know what's going to happen with the others, with the station, so why do we have to have it?
It's the way the DNR handles utilization of state-owned property for endeavors that aren't sponsored by the state. So with the Aquatic Invasive Species Program, of course, they do have a role in that. And so this is the program they've developed to allow local units of government to further their AIS programs. So really, it's just an acknowledgement that we are going to be citing property that is not owned by them on their at their landing, and it's really relieving them of the liability of having to maintain and ensure anything dealing with that piece of equipment. This is a unique situation. They'll only enter into this agreement with a county, and so of course this cleaning station is owned by the Fish Trap Lake Owners Association, and they realize that and know that. However, they are not eligible to enter into a lease agreement with the state.
So then to further that up, if I may, is that indemnifies them, if you will, of any kind of liability.
That's
I think
correct.
that's what you said.
Yes.
Obviously, that must put liability on somebody's shoulders. So what kind of liability, and I don't know if that you know this, what kind of a liability does that put on Morrison County when we're not going to own the machine that is going to be put on the property? And I get that they're not going to give this agreement to Joe Schmo down the road. It's only counties that can do this.
I did provide this contract to Steve Messerschmidt, and he did run that up the flagpole to MCIT because we did have to show evidence that this was scheduled on there. And so Steve worked that through with MCIT, and they did schedule it on and so we do have a certificate of insurance reflecting some minor coverage that they're requiring on this.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Miss Amy.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
Just one.
Commissioner Lemire.
On the additional terms, it says that we have to install a cement pad. Is that gonna be on the
Yes.
lid, or?
Yes, that wasn't anything we had discussed about providing. And so I think the assumption was that they were going to do the site prep and then cite it. But the DNR is acknowledging that there will be some site prep and that they are giving permission for that concrete pad. It's our understanding that the Lake Association is going to be undertaking that work. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If Now, we got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
All right, thank
Thank
you
you, Amy.
very much.
Thank you, Ms. Amy.
Okay, information technology. Welcome, Amy. and Sheriff.
Good morning.
Good morning, Amy.
I'm bringing forward today a request for board action to approve the purchase of Windscribe software. It's a dictation and transcription service software that the sheriff's office, attorney's office, and social services will all utilize. I'll let the sheriff talk about how he'll pay for it, but the attorneys and social services will absorb this within their budget.
And the sheriff's office will be just asking permission to use a fund balance out of our jail programs to help offset that cost. So some of it's already, like we have our yearly fee that we pay for our current system that we use. But to make up the difference because of the upfront costs, we're gonna need $12,000 to pull out of that reserve.
Sounds good.
I'll move on this, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jelinski, seconded by Commissioner Lemire. Any further discussions?
I just want to say we had a lengthy conversation on this at our planning session, and that the current system that the sheriff has is pretty much going away.
Correct.
And we needed to find new software to replace that, and this is that software.
Sounds good. Does anybody have any other questions? If not, this is roll call. Commissioner Lemire?
Aye.
Commissioner Winchell? Aye. Commissioner Jelinski?
Aye.
Commissioner Blaine? Aye. Commissioner Wilson? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have auditor's report.
Good morning, Chelsea.
Morning, Chelsea.
Morning,
Mr. Chair, and I did say this earlier, but I can't not say happy birthday publicly to Chelsea because we like to do that.
I already kind of sang, so I don't think you need me to do that again, do you?
But the mics are on now,
Nobody
JJ.
else needs me to do it again either. Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you
birthday.
very much. I would wish that. Thank you. First on the agenda today, I have a request to approve on opening a new checking account under the MAGIC hierarchy for the American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Winchell, seconded by Commissioner Lemire. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Next on the agenda, I have a resolution that is requesting approval. This resolution will allow us then to take the list of tax forfeited properties to the state Minnesota Department of Revenue Minnesota Department of Natural Resources to get approval from the state level before moving forward on these parcels to hold at a tax forfeited land sale.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Got a motion by Commissioner Lemire, seconded
Second.
by Commissioner Jelinski. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in,
Randy has something, Mr. Chair.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
are any of these, repeat that maybe didn't sell a year or two ago? Cause I know some of these are not most desirable, that they're landlocked or whatever, so are any of these been ongoing for years and we just can't sell them?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, the list that is before you is multiple years delinquent and then the last 2 years that have forfeited. If you look back at the patterns of these parcels, yes, you'll see that some may be repetitive coming to board over the years. Yes.
Chelsea, the question to that would be then also, when we have an auction and they don't sell, somebody can come in later and buy them, correct, at a price that we have determined?
That is correct. So
So how long does that last? Because somebody could come in today from the auction that we had, what, a year, 2 years ago, and buy that property if they wanted to for what we had that labeled for back then?
correct. So the last tax forfeited land sale we had was in 2019, as 2020 was not a normal year. And so the
parcels that we had listed for auction, you had set the prices as commissioners, and then that was the starting price at the auction. If anything did not sell at the auction time, then they would be able to purchase the property over the counter for that set amount, minimum plus the fees, in order to record and purchase the property. I can tell you that all of those properties that did not sell at those live auctions did sell over the counter. So right now we have nothing to purchase over the counter as of right now.
So then if they wouldn't have sold, for instance, you would bring them back to this auction possibly, and then whatever price was set at that time, if we lowered it because it wasn't low enough. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
So if we had any outstanding parcels that did not sell, we would then bring the listing back to board. You could then revisit the starting price and redetermine starting price and then move forward.
Okay,
And Mr. Chair, and we'd all know the answer. Each commissioner that this is in their district, they're the ones that set the price. It's not just all five of us. So it's in Commissioner Lemire's, he would set the price, not all five of us.
That is correct.
okay, I do have a motion, a second on this one, right? Okay, any more questions? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, I have a large assembly license, and I do have John from Two Tall Tavern here that will be joining us this morning.
Okay. Welcome, John.
Thank you, John.
Hello, John.
How are you guys?
Fantastic, thank you.
So John has just submitted a large assembly application to hold an event on August 6th. He had the opportunity to have Winona Judd to hold a concert at his business. So that's coming up in a very short amount of time. But we have his application along with his written plan. So as far as time frame, he has gates opening at 5 with the performance starting at 8:30. He does have everything in his written plan. I would suggest a motion for approval, and then that would be contingent upon me receiving commercial liability insurance and the bond 1 week before the event, which is my normal request with any other large assembly application.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Lemire, seconded by Commissioner Wincher. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Commissioner
I
Jelinski.
might ask, I'm going to assume, but I'm going to ask, the sheriff's been notified, the sheriff's approved a safety plan, and so on and so forth, as would follow?
That is correct.
Okay.
John has been in touch with the Sean, as well as I, and we are all on agreeing terms.
Okay,
Very good, thank you very much.
okay, any other questions? Not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
John.
you.
Fun.
All right, thank you guys.
I'll be with you in just a second, John. Okay. And then last but not least, I just have a motion to approve board warrants.
Okay, got a motion by,
So moved. Pay all the bills.
okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Lemire,
I'll
seconded
second
by
it.
Commissioner Jelinski. It's a roll call vote. Commissioner Wincher.
Aye.
Commissioner Jelinski.
Aye.
Commissioner Blaine. And I, and Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That's all
Thank
I
you,
have
Chelsea.
today.
Thank you, Chelsea.
And have
Have a
great
wonderful
day.
birthday.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you have cake by any chance?
Oh.
Not yet, it's a little early, but
Right
I'll
after
let
you
know
pick it
when.
up. Right after you pick it up, just.
Never too early for
I'm not
cake.
gonna ask you how many years you are. so
Well, I-
Old enough to know better.
I would never do that.
Yeah, I know. Thank
Let
you.
me see, County Board Awards. Next, Public Works, Steve. Welcome. Is he on here? Is he out of order? Is he out of order? Or is he on here?
Morning, Steve.
Good morning,
But I've got a minute.
Chairman, members of the board. A couple action items for you today. The first being our routine maintenance for pavement markings throughout the county. Earlier, the board awarded this contract to Sir Lines-A-Lot. That project's been completed, and we're asking the board to certify completion so we can make final payment.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Jelinski, seconded by Commissioner Wincher. Any further discussion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye. Roll call, just a minute, roll call, I'm sorry. Commissioner Jelinski.
Aye.
Commissioner Blaine. Aye. Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Commissioner Wincher. Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, then our second action item is that we've received notice from our environmental recreational manager that he is moving on to bigger and better things. Whether that's retirement or not, I'm not quite sure, probably a little bit of everything. And so we are requesting authorization from the board to fill this position. It's a major leadership position in the Public Works Department. It oversees our solid waste program, parks and trails, writes grants for parks and trails, and a matter of fact, just successfully completed the one for the purchase or receiving funding to help the Eastern Morrison Snowmobile Club purchase a groomer. So that was a $75,000 grant that was successful, that we just received notice of, that the position, the incumbent has successfully obtained for the county. So it's a very important position for us, and we're wanting to try to move to fill it as quickly as we can. And so that's a request for the board.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Lemire, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Jelinski. Is there any further discussion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, then just a little, some updates. We are scheduled for August 26th at 7 p.m. up at Scandia Valley Township Hall for our public hearing, where we'll consider the issue of closing the Lincoln grade crossing and revoking to the township that segment of County Road 200 lies west of the main line of the BNSF tracks up there. So we've sent notice. One of the reasons it got pushed out is we have to give 30-day notice to the town board of a revocation of a county road to a township by certified mail. So that's all taking place right now. And so I think we should be in position for everything to be completed for the public hearing when the board takes that comment and makes a decision on what they're going to do up there. We're winding down substantial amount of our 2021 construction program. County State Aid 21 from Uppsala all the way to the Stearns County line is complete. That was a major project that we had both County State Aid highway funding and federal funding to complete that construction project. Knife River was the contractor on it. Another contract down there that is completed was our CSA 24 from Stearns County line to Trunk Highway 238 right through Bolus. 26 from Royalton to Bolus was another segment that was included in that contract. We had pipe work on 15 between Swanville and Uppsala. And then out in the eastern part of the county were County Road 247, 248, and Municipal State Aid Street 103 in Hillman. Those are all complete. We're just finishing up on our CSA 34 work. Sinusoidal rumble strips are going in and be painted this week, and so we should be pretty well wound up with that project by the end of the week. In Piers, that project that we have with RIPSA and with the city of Piers, the western piece of our CSA 43 from State Highway 25 west is going to be seeing curb and gutter the beginning of next week. So it's going to start to come together pretty fast once that starts to happen. So everything seems to be on track. Once we get a little bit further down the road on the Piers project, then the only thing we'll have left is we'll have the bridge in Randall and the township structure on 100th Avenue in Elmdale Township. So hopefully it all comes together and we get it completed this year. It'll be nice that that happens. It's been a while since we had our entire program completed by the end of the year.
Are we still planning on doing some tarring east of the shop there on that road, that gravel road?
That is something that would be in our future program. It wouldn't be this year.
Oh, it wouldn't be, okay, okay. Figure you're all done, you might as well finish that one.
I suppose that's a way to look at it.
It is very nice. I've driven on those roads. That's why the speed's up in the county. They're all
Yeah.
very nice. So,
Yeah, they're doing good work. The weather has been phenomenal for us, so
Yeah.
it's nice to be on track with it for once.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Next, administrators report.
Mr. Chair, we have a resolution for final payment for a couple of contracts for the building project. Steve is here to go over that.
Good morning. Good morning, Steve.
What I have this morning is our final payments for the building project to be approved today.
For real?
Real. The one's Holden Electric, the other's Contegrity Group's, the final fee. I did transfer, we did have $13,000 left that we used, or $15,000 left that we used to pay for part of the elevator cost, that, to zero that account out that we talked about earlier. So this account is zero. It's all done.
Excellent. I'll move on this.
I was gonna say, can I get a motion on that by Commissioner Jelinski, seconded by Commissioner Wincher? Is there any further discussion? If not, this is roll call. Commissioner Blaine?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson, aye. Commissioner Lemire?
Aye.
Commissioner Wincher?
Aye.
Commissioner Jelinski?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you.
Job well done. It's been
Thanks,
a
Steve.
long time coming, so it's
Fantastic.
nice to wrap this up. Thank you, Steve, very much.
Thanks, Steve.
It's been a long time. Mr. Chair, I don't have action items in the board packet, but wanted to take a quick minute to address the ARP funding and what we've talked about with that. I had sent to you, prior to being out of the office last week, a copy of the proposed grant program application that we've discussed. And wanted to kind of get your feedback, your thoughts based upon, having time to digest this. The first round of funding, as you're well aware, is here. It would be half of what we are slated to receive. The second half would be coming in 2022. We don't know exactly when that will be occurring. Based upon our initial discussions that we've had, we've talked about the potential to run a Morrison County Community Investment Grant Program. And with that, this is a draft application that we've discussed during budget meetings. Wanted to get some feedback, ensure that you're comfortable, get thoughts on timing of this grant application process, and kind of open the floor to discussion and direction from you about how you would like me to proceed.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Commissioner Wincher.
Again, I appreciate the work you put in there, and again, the two main things that I was kind of questioning, and again, it's now part of the contract or the application where under the budget, it says maximum 20% county match, or exceptions may be granted. I like that. And obviously, the other one is the pandemic. On 6, it says recover from the pandemic or address the overall, and I appreciate that, so I'm fine
Thank you.
with it.
Does anybody else have any questions? If,
Mr. Chair?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
How would this be handled? And as I say that, and if I read it and read over it, so be it. But if I am a business, if you will, and I fill out the application, I send it to Morrison County, how's it gonna be handled from there? What's gonna happen? Am I gonna have to wait until June, July, August, September next year? How, and maybe you don't know the answer, or maybe we don't know the answer to that.
And that's what I was hoping to have some conversation about too. Right now, I have a proposal as a starting place to have discussions in August 1st through October 31st, October 30th, open grant period. Whether or not you want to continuously address those, or that you want me to compile them and look at them all at once, is certainly up to you. They're going to come in as they're complete. I certainly think it's very easy and appropriate to have continued discussions. I think that's probably a good idea during a budget meeting and regularly scheduled budget meetings to have those. Ultimately, all grant awards will be coming to you at a board meeting to approve formally. This leaves this quite open-ended, and as we discussed, was somewhat intentional in that, just to see what's out there and to see what proposals come forward. The scope of this grant program would be fairly broad, going and ranging from for-profit businesses to nonprofit to perhaps local government entities or different types of groups, just because there is eligibility across the board for use of these funds. And it seemed as if during our discussions, you were open to looking at different potential opportunities. And so that's where this proposal or this grant draft comes into play. It's really kind of taking all of those different ideas that you've discussed and compiling them into one program and see what comes forward with it. So I would say ongoing review makes sense to me, Commissioner Jelinski, unless you direct otherwise.
So hypothetically, just as a example only, that's just me. If we have a planning meeting a week before our board meetings, so if we had I'm just talking out loud, if we had a budget meeting after every one of our planning meetings from August 1st through October 30th, and we had an application, maybe that board meeting's gonna be very short, that budget meeting would be very short, maybe it would be a little lengthier. I don't know the answer to those questions. But if we had an application hypothetically on August 1st that was brought to us at a planning meeting, we discussed it, beat it up, tore it apart, and let's say ultimately kind of approved it at a planning meeting, that application then could go hypothetically August 1st, August 7th, just for a week time, just hypothetical dates, could then come to board and could be approved.
The only thing,
As an example. That's all it is just an example to kick off the conversation. There we are.
the only thing that I would, and maybe I misunderstood, but you said at a planning session, the planning session would be first, then we'd have a budget.
Yes,
meeting
yeah,
after
that would be my,
So then it would, if we approved it at the budget meeting, then it would come to our board.
that would be my, sorry, you said it better than me.
Yep, so Commissioner Lemire?
Sorry, I wasn't ready for you. Under that local unit of government
Yep.
portion, is that where like Brad is having his ideas with mental health issues and drug abuse and depression and stuff?
Yep.
Is that where he would like write his own grant for his own program that he's trying to work with the schools with to develop, or how does that work?
Well, it could work numerous ways. It depends upon who the host would ultimately be. Yesterday, consequently, we had a nice meeting with area superintendents, and we did some brainstorming, Brad and I, and his local collaborative, the coalition that they work through with school districts, to talk a little bit about what that would look like. It's still in the early onset of that, whether or not that would be an internal Morrison County sponsored program or initiative might be the right word, or if that would be something school districts would look at, or if that would be something a regional group would look at.
So if it is a Morrison County program, can we just use the money for that purpose?
I don't anticipate internal directives or internal initiatives to go through this process unless you
Okay.
would direct otherwise.
And then, is this in finished format, you think, right now?
The language, I'm looking for ideas and thoughts, or if
Just
I've
the-
missed
the
something.
note on the second page, that's the only thing I would put.
Oh,
make
just
sure
the
that
spacing of the wording for that?
The no should be on the first page under the yes.
No, she
Oh,
does.
very
Oh,
good.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
good
definitely.
catch.
I was doing editing and didn't pay
No,
attention to
that's-
that. Yep, no, good idea, good point.
Thank you for the answers.
Any other
This yes,
questions?
this
The
no.
only question I have, I think when you were describing this, you said businesses, but I don't think we're
They
doing
should be
business.
right on top of each other.
We're doing nonprofits and,
An applicant could be a corporate for-profit, according to what I've identified here. This isn't about granting to businesses for specific recovery or for, like what we've done in the past with loss, pandemic-directed loss. It's about economic investment. It's about, that's what you were stressing to me as a board, whether or not there are initiatives that are happening that they would need to prove to you and substantiate that request to say, this is what we're looking for, this is initiative we would like to see to help with pandemic recovery, to help with economic impact, to help create and stimulate the local economy and the citizens of Morrison County. So I didn't hear that you wanted to exclude for-profit potential organizations, but certainly it is a different spin on it than what we've ran previously when it comes to CARES dollars or that business relief program with dollars from the state of Minnesota.
And that's why I believe question number 5 and 6 are important. And I appreciate that you got them in there.
And I'm looking also to work with getting this online, when you talk about formatting, to working with that to present this better and to maybe potentially have an online response capability to, or application process.
Sure.
That would be very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I,
Commissioner
under
Richard.
the budget, where, again, is there gonna be an end date? I know we have an end date of 2 or 3 years, but if this application comes to me, for instance, how am I gonna know when I'm gonna receive this money, or how long is it gonna take for me to be approved or not approved? Are we gonna have something like that?
That's a good point. The first round I'm proposing as a 3-month time period, so we can kind of get a feel of what's come in. As you know, we have certain dollar amount that came in for the first half. We're due to get another one, whether you decide that this format is good or you want to make changes moving forward, or perhaps we have more requests than we have funds available. Maybe we have far less. We don't know what those requests are going to be and what that looks like, and you as a board are able to take these applications and weigh them and look at them and decide whether or not you want to grant them, as Commissioner Jelinski said, as they come in, or if you decide you want to wait until that 3-month time period is complete so you can kind of get a total picture of what's coming in, whether or not you have other internal focuses you want to see. I intentionally didn't put a total available dollar amount on there because I think based upon conversations you've had, I didn't get a clear feeling that you had that set, that you wanted to see maybe what came in and see where you are at with what requests are out there before you make those decisions. I did put out to department heads about whether or not there are any opportunities internally for needs of the organization that would fit the requirements of the ARP dollars. Those I'm compiling and getting a list for you for consideration also. So it's early. It's early on in the process. Flexibility is what seemed most appropriate based upon what the discussions were, but you tell me if you'd like to see something different.
Mr. Chair, to follow up on that, are we gonna shotgun this all to everybody? I don't think we have time or we even know who would be available. So like we have the record here, are we putting something in the record and saying, okay, this is money that could be available, or Facebook or whatever? Is that what our plan's gonna be?
I anticipate taking a similar approach to what we've done with the grant programs in the past, which is using our local marketing tools that we have, certainly using our partners that we have that are regularly involved in these types of grant opportunities, places that are regularly communicating with different initiatives or businesses or organizations that are looking to do some advancement and
And
investment.
obviously, as a county commissioner, I could come in and say, give me some applications.
Absolutely.
Just so I understand things correctly, though, I believe what we're talking about here is, let's say these went out in a week. Let's just say they went out in a week. Then when we have a planning session or our next budget meeting that we would have, we could look at some of those that came back and we can make a decision on those, yes or no at that time, not wait till October. That's the way I'm understanding this. Are you guys understanding it any differently?
I'm kind of on the fence on that one, because if, let's say we get 50 applications in a
Yeah.
week or 2 weeks,
Yep,
whatever. it
yep,
may be,
yep.
And they all, 20, 30 of them look great, but okay, they're okay, so we approved it, and all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, boy, we get 30 more, and those are a little better than the ones that we got. I don't know, I'm
Those
just
are the
throwing that out
things-
there for discussion.
I agree with that. The only thing that I see here, if we waited till October, now we're kind of through summer already, you know, so that some of these people may be able to use that money right away to get a project done if we choose to do that. But I just want to make sure that we're all on the same understanding on how you want to do this. And I don't care, I just want to make sure we all understand it. Because I don't think the decision has been made at all. It's your determination on what you would like.
That's why we're having this discussion, Mr. Chair. I'm looking for direction.
I kind of like to see people send, because Randy, you know, we're talking 2 years, and we got a second half of money coming in at a later date that, and maybe we'll, I don't know, maybe we'll be overwhelmed with stuff, I don't know.
And again, my point is, we got X amount of dollars, and for some
Yeah.
freaky some nature, we have the whole request the first 3 weeks, and all of a sudden we have to, you know, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that maybe it won't happen, maybe we only have them for 100,000 requests.
And maybe we'll choose not to give it all out right away for that reason, you know, I don't know.
But will those people, and that's why I'm leading up to this, so if I put an application in, and, oh, you know what, we're not gonna give it to you, but maybe we would in 6 months or a year, would they have to reapply, or are we just gonna hold on to that application? So,
I don't think I'm gonna throw anything away. We certainly have more dollars that are going to come in and more opportunity to look at this as an ongoing basis,
All right, well, I guess we'll kind of play it by ear a little bit, huh? Or,
I don't think she has direction.
no,
No. So I see that debate about whether or not you want to take them as they come in or whether or not you want to look at a time period. I think it's set up in a way from August to October. It is after the summer months, but we also have a number of years. It's through the end of 2026 that the dollars can be spent, through the end of 2024 that they're identified to be encumbered. So I recognize that there may be initiatives that folks feel are urgent, but we also, you indicated early on to me that you wanted to take your time, that we wanted to think through this process and take a look at what it is that comes in.
My vote, October 30th, let's wait, let's look at them all, and that's it, use that as an end date, but again, I'm only one.
And Mr. Chair, as we noticed learned through the CARES Act, those early COVID dollars, rules and regulations seemed to morph as we went through this. And so while ARP funding opportunities seem greater than what they did and less restrictive with CARES, we certainly are in the audit process now for CARES, and we are learning things, and we are, now in a position to have that review happen in which we need to kind of take a step back and see once if rules change or if things are morphing as they learn more about using these dollars. So many organizations are stepping back a little bit and just doing as you identified right away and taking your time. But yet I'm also hearing from you that we want to get going. So I'm kind of balancing those with a starting point here in terms of what could be an opportunity.
I agree with Randy.
I do too. The only thing I would like to see some applications at our budget meeting as they come in. That way we can get a feel of what's happening here.
Mr. Chair, I don't want to come here on October 30th or 31st and have a stack of applications that we're not,
No.
we're gonna sit down with
I agree with that.
and do that.
I just
That
said,
I
let's
don't
get.
want.
He said after October 31st,
After
so
October, then we would look.
can have them
The
for,
money,
But we'd have applications coming in tomorrow, next month, whatever, then we can take our time.
Sure.
Oh, I agree.
anybody else have anything
You
else?
got anything to say there, Commissioner? No, I don't.
Okay. All right, then, is everybody okay with what the application says? So that Deb sends it out, and we might find out there's something not quite right after we send it out, but is,
Yeah, that there may
Are
be
we
maybe
okay with what's
tweaks or, I want to spend the next week or so looking a little bit more at this and looking at whether or not I was out of the office last week, so I want to, preface that and make sure there's not any new guidance that came out that I'm unaware of and kind of dig into that a little bit. I don't know that there would be major changes. I certainly would let you know if there would be something, but in concept, in high level, are you comfortable with this as a first step approach to Morrison County utilizing and identifying ARP funding opportunities?
And Mr. Chair, again, pointing out the time date, we have till October 30th. Are we gonna put something in there that says, okay, then the funds will be issued week later, month later?
Yeah, I'll dig into that. I needed direction on what you guys were looking
That's
at.
kind of what we just decided,
Yeah.
so that's what we'll do.
I just got one more thing.
Yes,
On here, it serve residents in need who were impacted by the pandemic. Does it have to say, can it just say serve residents in need? I mean, do they have to prove that they were affected by the pandemic, or? I'm so sick of seeing that word, I guess, maybe that's part of the problem, but,
Look at that, it's gone.
well, it don't have to be, it's just it's a
But that's what's
question.
good about
It's
talking
not a-
about this, yeah. Don't come up with it later, if you think of
Yeah.
something you don't want, let's do it.
It was more of a
Or
question.
or you can put that word "or" in there, like we did know that, under the,
Or who were impacted.
or, like, see here, we did this one.
you know, one thing we did talk about, and it came up earlier, are childcare needs in the county. That is one thing that superintendent group discussed yesterday also, in terms of their viewpoint as an employer in childcare, and whether or not there are opportunities with these dollars that could help support that need and really help with economic advancement. Because I think there are people out there that aren't working because of childcare, lack of childcare opportunities. And I think that, anybody out there looking to make that investment, looking to really advance that opportunity, this potentially could be a great supportive way to make that happen. And so things like that are different ideas where we're looking at those in need, like you said, Commissioner Lemire, but yet those in need to really help Morrison County advance and really do better economically than
That
we
could
are
be a
now.
long-term
Absolutely.
problem that we find a solution for.
Yep. Mhm. And these grants, I didn't intentionally put any type of limit, because I didn't hear you say that. Some could be smaller, some could be larger, depending upon the scope of a project or an initiative that's presented. I think you would have opportunity to really vet that and determine overall what you're comfortable with based upon the big picture. And to me, that speaks to Commissioner Winter's point in terms of, see what you get in and see where you guys are comfortable and see what it is that you want to do as a board. And maybe that is funding applications in full, maybe it's not, based upon the response that you have. You have that flexibility with the structure that I'm trying to get at in this application.
Okay, well, from what I understand here, if everybody's okay with this, she'll go with this. If you have a concern after reading through it a little more and something comes up, email Deb with your concern. Otherwise, this will be the application. We'll start looking at them when they come in. We'll make a financial decision after October 30th.
Okay.
Are we all on the same page with that?
Yep.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good.
Thank you very much.
You don't need nothing else on that, do you?
I don't. I'm good with that. I just wanted to have that discussion to make sure we're all on the same page and I can continue with the work. I was gonna mention the county fair, but we were able to address that with Emily and Sarah that were here earlier. Other than that, I don't have anything for action items. I think the calendars are next. Oh, yeah.
Are we having a carnival here? Are they doing the balloon broke at the?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Yeah. They had last year, or 2 years ago, they just brought in the
Oh.
blow-ups. Are they
I-
having-
I don't mean to speak for you, Commissioner, that's your deal. But they are having a carnival.
I was gonna say, I think that's why they changed the dates, right?
Well-
Well, whatever, yeah.
The Fair Board, a number of years ago, or a couple years ago, came to the conclusion that the fair is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday is not part of the fair anymore. Not that it can't ever happen again, but when I was on that board, it was determined that Thursday, Friday, Saturday would be the fair dates. And thus they are again. But this in particular year was decided a long time ago. That's not to say that carnivals don't back out. I mean, we just need to make that very clear. But it was decided a long time ago that, yes, there would be a carnival, and there is one on the docket to be there. That's as much as I know. And I don't know, Commissioner, if you know something more about any of that stuff? You're correct.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Dates? July 18th through the 31st. Commissioner Lemire, would you like to start us off?
Sure. July 19th Stand Up For You Coalition, 12 o'clock, Zoom. 20th. Do we have a board meeting or a planning?
Planning?
I don't have it in my calendar. Planning at 8:30, and then the North Freeze Dry Facility groundbreaking at 10 o'clock. That's at 15582 18th Street Northeast. 21st,
Piers or Little Falls?
Little Falls.
Wilton, where?
HRA, 9 o'clock at HRA. It's weird that it's that day. 23rd is Julia Weiss retirement, 2 o'clock. I don't know where. Do you? Oh, I think it's right there. Yeah. Then 27th. See, I got a planning and a board, so it must be a board this
County
time.
board.
9 o'clock. 28th, Morrison County Local
Water plan.
Group, Local Water Plan Task Force.
I'm wondering, Mr. Chair, I don't mean to interrupt, Mike, but I think the 20th and there's a planning meeting and a board meeting on the 27th, or calendar items, and I think one was missed for the 20th. So I was gonna mention that and I forgot. Yeah, we need to maybe just, a date got wrong or something on that. That's probably why it's confusing.
And that's a Teams meeting at 9 o'clock. That's all I got.
Okay, Commissioner Wincher.
Okay, Great River Regional Library on the 20th, 5:30 and 6
Bless you.
or 5 o'clock, excuse me, they moved it up a half an hour. I have Troy County Community, TCC, 5:30 on the 22nd. Soil and Water at 8 o'clock. And that's here at the board. On the 29th, I believe we had that Scandy public meeting, closed crossing. And that's what time? That's
7.
7, I think.
That's August 26th.
July 29th, I thought they changed it.
No, it's August
July
26th.
29th, I got two.
Did,
He just sent an email.
Oh, I got switched to August. That's right, it was
He
too soon.
just said it was
It was
later.
too
Yeah.
soon for the public.
for the road,
So they
Yep.
moved that?
Yep, they did.
August 26th, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's correct, yeah.
August 26th.
Otherwise, I'm good.
Okay, Commissioner Jelinski.
On Monday, the 19th, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I have a SECB Regional Stakeholder meeting, which I believe, and at 1 o'clock, there's another one at the same location. That's going to be the SCIP plan. That's going to be the City of St. Cloud at the DOT building, starting at 9, and it's just going to become one gigantic fiasco. On the 20th, at 6 PM, we have a Planning Commission Board of Adjustment meeting. That should be here at the Government Center at the boardroom. On the 21st, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I have a Hands of Hope meeting, and as far as I know, that's a virtual meeting. On the 22nd, at 12:30 in the afternoon, I have a State Emergency Communications Board meeting. At 2 o'clock that same day, I have an FCC Strike Force meeting. And I'm probably going to miss both of them because it is my in-laws' family Christmas. I'll be out of town.
You flying?
I'm not flying. I'm looking at all, in line here, I will be out of town. They do not need to be put down. Sorry about that. 24th, 26th, 27th. On the 28th of July, at 11 o'clock in the morning, is a Central Minnesota Emergency Services Board Executive Committee meeting. At 1 o'clock, that full board meets, and as it is right this moment, I believe it's virtual. That's also the day of the local water plan, which I will not be able to attend because of that Central Minnesota deal. On the 29th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I have an FCC Strike Force meeting again. Just doesn't go away. It's also the start of the Morrison County Fair, which again is the 29th, 30th, and 31st. And that should take care of me, Mr. Chair. Thank you very kindly.
Thank you. Commissioner Blaine?
On Tuesday, July 20th at 10 o'clock a.m., I have a Region 5 Exec Board meeting at 10 a.m. in Staples. I will come to the planning session and just leave early to attend that. Other than that, that's all I have this 2
Okay.
weeks.
On the 20th, I have community development, and that will be at the Pine Bank,
Pine Country Bank?
Pine Country
All right.
Bank, yep. On the 23rd, Mississippi Headwater, and I think it's still virtual. I don't know for sure yet. And the 29th, I've got CMCOA at 10 o'clock, and I think that's virtual too yet. It's Council of Aging. And that's all I have, different, unless Tabitha, you tell me I'm missing something. Okay,
If you would like to schedule budget meetings to be able to address that, or do you have a preference on planning session days? I know Tuesdays seem to work following meetings that you're already here. Are you okay if I schedule those and send out invites? Do you want me to go through that now, or if I schedule on a Tuesday following a planning session, are you kind of good with that regularly? And if we need to meet, if there's things on the agenda, we can. If we don't, then I would let you know and cancel those. How would you like me to handle that?
Tuesdays is fine with me.
yeah, I'd like them right after the board
Okay.
meeting.
I'm
It's,
fine, right?
all right.
Planning or board,
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever it is.
Okay, you're with either, you're okay with, I just didn't know if you had a preference, okay. All right, I will just, based upon kind of the schedule as it plays out, see if I can't work through that and we can address it. We're coming up on budget season, so there are a few more that we meet with regardless, so, all right, that gives me direction, thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Jelinski, seconded by Commissioner Winchell. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right.